Here we have my two downhill bikes. Both are 27.5 YT Tues, however they're set up quite differently to excel in different areas of riding. For my freeride setup, I ride a size medium frame, which is definitely on the small side for me. I'm 5'11" and that bike has a reach of 429 millimeters for reference. Riding the small bike gives me more leverage over the front end, which is better for popping jumps and doing tricks like 360s. Moving on to the suspension, up front I've got the Marzo Bomber 58 with 73 PSI and 7 volume spacers, and out back I've got a Fox Float X2 with 230 PSI and 5 volume spacers. In this instance, I have the X2 as opposed to the Bomber Air, just because the Bomber Air isn't available in the correct size for the YT downhill bike. With these suspension settings, this bike is both super stiff and super progressive. In both the fork and the shock, I'm running max volume spacers, and with the air pressure that I'm running, I'm roughly at around 11% sag. Running a stiff bike like this is necessary in a freeride application just to prevent bottoming out on certain features and to maintain the feel of a lip on a trick jump. Looking at the wheels, I'm running the Race Face Atlas wheels front and rear with Maxxis tires. For the cockpit, I'm running the Race Face Atlas 50mm stem in the Atlas bar in a 20mm rise by 780mm width. Lastly, some Shimano parts round out this build. We've got the full Saint package between the brakes, the cranks, and the drivetrain. These are actually the first parts I was ever hooked up with from Shimano. I got them in January of 2021 and they're still running strong. I'm running the Saint derailleur as only a tensioner, just because I don't like having shifting on my freeride setup, as I really enjoy having a clean cockpit with just my front and rear brakes. To contrast this setup, here's my bike park downhill bike. As of today, this bike is also size medium, however I've got a large on the way. While the medium is super great for freeride applications, doing tricks, spins, etc., whenever I see footage of me riding that bike in a bike park setting and just kind of ripping some trail, I just feel it looks way too small. So I'm really excited to get on a large. The size large downhill bike has a reach of 452 millimeters, which is super close to my size medium Capra, which comes in at a 447 mil reach. Aside from the switch up on the frame size, the other major change for the bike park setup is the suspension. While they are the same components, the setup of the suspension is totally different. In this fork, I've got 50 PSI with 5 volume spacers, and in the rear shock, I've got 165 PSI with 3 volume spacers. To contrast the 11% sag that the freeride bike has, this bike's sitting at 22% sag front and rear. Additionally, this bike features a full 10-speed Saint drivetrain, as most people would run it, unlike the single speed which the freeride bike has. Another major point of contrast between these bikes is my pedal setup. On the freeride bike, I'm running the Race Face Atlas flat pedals. It's great for doing no-fa cans and bailing in case something's going wrong, and that's definitely the tool for the job on that bike. And then on the bike park setup, I'm running some clips. I started running clips last spring, and I've just fallen in love with how much control you get over the back end. To wrap things up, the last major change between these bikes is my tire setup. While both bikes feature a 2.5 Assegai in the front, on the freeride bike, I'm running that tire in an EXO Plus casing to keep things light. And then on my bike park bike, I run that tire in either a downhill casing or double down, just depending on what I have with me, to give me some extra rim protection. With that said, in the rear, I'm running a downhill casing DHR2 2.4 on both bikes. In addition to the heavier casing front tire on the bike park bike, that bike has also got Cushcore Pro inserts front and rear just for some added rim protection. I really like having wheels that I know I can just smash all day long, and between the downhill casing tires and the Cushcore, I really just get that added confidence. While most people would never need to run a bike with max volume spacers and 11% sag, these bikes prove to be good examples of how much your setup can change your bike's performance and how important it is to find what works best for you.